about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. Well, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. The hostages are home after 2 long, grueling, barbaric, torturous years. The hostages are home, and the road to peace in the Middle East is now beautifully paved like a yellow brick road. And this is such an amazing day. People ask why they didn't see a lot of pictures of me, when I was in Israel, and and because it really wasn't celebratory. You couldn't live, for me, being half Israeli, you couldn't live and enjoy life knowing that somebody was being tortured and raped and begging for food. And unfortunately, I still feel that way with all the other barbarism going on across the globe. But we made huge history today with the hostages coming home and reuniting with their families. The dead bodies, not all of them are coming home. We know Hamas said they have 4, and my guess is because, what they might have done to the corpses, and unthinkable. And so my fear is we might not get all the deceased home so they can have proper burials, which is extremely important in all of our religions. But the live hostages have come home in one piece. The medical care and the psychological care they're going to need is going to be ongoing, but they've reunited with their families. And what is so historic about this is, the Abraham Accords Trump did in his first term didn't get the credit they deserved, with United Arab Emirates and Sudan and Bahrain and Morocco, uniting and forging peace with Israel, with trades and talks, etc. Now Trump has the ability to expand it to include Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Lebanon and who knows, maybe even Syria. And if these Abraham Accords get expanded in Trump, I know he's only got 3 years left in the presidency, but if he could work quickly to make sure these are airtight deals, peace can be achieved in the Middle East. People ask, they go, why did it take 2 years? And for the hostages to come home, why has Hamas been in control of Palestine for this long? Well, it's because you didn't have unity. You need a leader. Many of the countries can't stand Hamas. But where were they? Why didn't they step up and say, bring the hostages home? You bring the hostages home, the war will stop. And, also, look at Hamas. Look at what they did. It was pretty clear that if the hostages came home, there's no more war. Even the Palestinians were like, we don't want this war. They're even celebrating. They have to be very careful because Hamas has already vowed that they are going to, provide retribution on collaborators and all that. So Hamas is still raining terror. Hamas isn't just going to go away. They're either going to try to find another place or they're going to still try to, rain terror on who they can. They're not just going to roll over and die. But why didn't they? This could have been over October 8th. This could have never happened. And when you see the world, go, oh, Israel is so evil and Israel is ruling God. Israel didn't ask for this. Israel was not in control of Gaza for years. Hamas decides to take advantage, pull hostages out, rape, kill, behead, cause, imagine you being a parent, seeing your child raped and killed in front of you, or your wife or husband. I mean, this is the stuff they did just to torture people and then take hostages so they had some room for barter. Why didn't the other countries step up? October 8th, we should have seen all the other countries step up. And we didn't. And it took Trump to get these other states, these other countries to give a damn. And now he's in Egypt, ensuring that the peace plan starts to go through the 20 steps. Hamas needs to be disarmed. Palestinians will hopefully be ruled with this international plan of international court for peace that right now Trump is heading. And he might still be able to head post-presidency because we worry that when Trump leaves, this can just all fall apart. But hopefully, it's many countries understand that if they're at peace with Israel, it helps them. And the United Arab Emirates got it right. I think these other countries know. And the idea of, well, if we recognize Israel in any, because there was going to be, after British occupation, a Palestinian homeland and the Israeli homeland after World War II. But unfortunately, the Palestinian piece of it rejected it because they said, well, no, but we can't sign anything that acknowledges Israel exists. Well, now I think the other countries are thinking, okay, Israel exists. It's better to be at peace. We're not going to sit here and stand on principles. Israel has a right to exist. We're going to ensure that we don't break any accord and we don't wake the sleeping giant, so to speak. And this peace can be achieved. And it took Trump doing it. And it's Trump's a badass. I understand a lot of people dislike him. They're criticizing him, but you can't. I don't care how much you dislike him as a person or what he might be doing in terms of tariffs or ICE, but this move he made, not only did he want to secure our border and secure America, but by the way, Hamas took American hostages too, but he wants to secure world peace. As I've said before, Israel is the helicopter pad for America. America gets a lot of intelligence on what's going on with terrorist groups, with surrounding countries because of Israel. And Israel's peace and safety is paramount for America's foreign policy and for America's peace, and as it pertains to the Middle East. And so, not to mention, Israel probably gives them intelligence on other things going on as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they also have, eyes on Putin. So this is something that helps us. This is huge. This should be celebrated. Those people who want to still have political divide, I don't care what your politics are. Let's at least celebrate what happened now and hope that the Abraham Accords could be extended and that peace can be lifelong and everlasting. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Don't go away.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
Hi, it's Mark Falter, host of the Financial Fitness Show. I strongly believe that no one should ever pay 1 penny more in taxes than they are legally obligated. Unfortunately, for most hardworking Americans, this just isn't the case. Why? Because most people spend more time planning next weekend's getaway than trying to ensure they're going to pay less in taxes. My financial fitness team has put together some materials that I know are going to help you. It's the Tax Savings Kit. Tax Savings Kit includes 3 things: free tax analysis, top 10 ways to pay less in taxes, and an investor's guide to taxes. Now, how do you get it? Simple. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. I'm Mark Falter. This is Financial Fitness, making personal finance profitable.
Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So this weekend, it was busy. Coughs, colds, sore throats, hoarse voices, fever. Cough, cold, flu, and COVID season are here. And the fall and the winter season, obviously the most challenging. So I'm very, very excited. Dr. V is back. Dr. Yael Varnado, TV host known as Dr. V. You've seen her on CNN, Women's Health, Dr. Oz. She's a huge contributor for that and is a practicing physician at Johns Hopkins, is back to talk to us about how to prepare for this season. Dr. V, thank you so much for coming on again.
Dr. Daliah, it is great to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
Gosh, I love you and I love what you do because obviously, prevention is key. So, talk to us about what you're reminding your patients and listeners and fans about what they should be doing about staying healthy.
Gosh, you're 100% right. Like you said it, like cough, cold, flu season, everything is here. And so the most important thing, we're seeing at Hopkins is people are coming in sick, whether they're just run down, they're not getting enough sleep, they're stressed. And I just want to remind my patients and people that I'm taking care of that we have to take care of ourselves. We have to find some ways to really stay healthy and lean into that as we get ready for this last push. It's a busy last 3 months of the year. And that's really why I created getcheckforlife.org, to tell people and remind people of healthy ways to take care of themselves. And so I'm so excited to have the opportunity to share some tips on staying healthy today with you and your listeners.
Love it. Also, it's interesting because, I'll talk to patients. They're like, well, it's just the flu, so it goes away, or COVID is milder. I still have sequelae. I still have issues from when I got sick. It could affect the heart. It could affect your breathing. And so preparing for flu season and preparing for these things, it's not just a simple illness. We're learning more and more that the symptoms can persist and cause other issues. So that's why we're so grateful, you're here.
Yeah, you're 100%. And the flu may hit you differently than it hits me, or maybe someone who's elderly, or maybe a child. And so you're right, you can't just say, oh, it's just the flu. And that's why I tell my patients we have to be prepared. And I stock my medicine cabinet up, and I tell my patients to stock my medicine cabinet up. Yep. I pull out a drawer in my office. It's full. It's full of borons oscillococcinum because I love it so much, and it works. And I tell them, having Oscillo on hand can shorten the duration of sick days for your whole family. And, oscillococcinum cannot prevent the flu, but it's going to allow you to fight those symptoms before they get out of hand. And clinical studies have shown that when taken at the onset, Oscillo is going to reduce the duration and severity of flu-like symptoms, like that fever you get, those awful chills and body aches. And unlike other flu medicines, Oscillo is non-drowsy. It doesn't interact with other medications you're taking. And so it's really perfect for home and travel. It's widely available wherever you may shop, and you don't need a prescription for it.
I love that. And a lot of times people will wait. I love how you said, it's in the drawer ready to go. A lot of people will sadly wait until they're sick. And then while sick, they're trying to run to the drugstore. And we had shortages over the last few years of what people could get at the drugstore. So preparing now is key.
Absolutely. You don't want to be sick, go, and then they don't have it. Who wants to go to the store sick? You can barely get there. So you're 100% right. It's all about prevention. Having the first onset of the symptoms, you are going to be knocking those symptoms down, and really shortening that duration and severity. It's true. We got to do it.
I love it. What other tips, do you like to recommend as it pertains to where people or how people should prepare?
One of the best ways to stay healthy this time of the year is exercise. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I can't do it because I like to run outside, or I like to take walks outside, or, I get my exercise walking my dog or doing whatever that might be, but it's outdoors. Well, this is the time maybe because we don't have as much light during the day, or it's dark when you exercise. Come back indoors. Right. I have a go-to gym Planet Fitness. They have more than 2,700 locations nationally and internationally. They make it easy for you to stay active during the fall and winter because they have best-in-class like strength and cardio equipment. They have a non-intimidating environment for all fitness levels. So regardless of where you are in your fitness journey, you can feel comfortable working out. And I remind my patients, listen, regular exercise is going to boost your energy. It's going to reduce your stress, and you're going to improve your sleep. And so with a high-value, low-price Planet Fitness membership, anyone can get consistent exercise. I also love that they have the PF Black Card membership because that lets you bring a guest every day. Dr. Daliah, you and I can work out every day.
Yes.
And
yes.
Access the Black Card spa. I love the spa. And their massage chairs. Oh, my goodness, and more. So that's the perfect thing to give people as a gift if they won't do it for themselves this holiday season.
And I can't overestimate enough how important that is because when you go out of town, you get off your fitness regimen. My son uses the Planet Fitness. He has a membership and he uses the pass. And so like we saw our nephews in Iowa. He didn't have to miss one day of workouts because there was a Planet Fitness right across the hotel. So it's very important to be able to still keep up with your, like for somebody like me, if I don't get it in, I can't sleep. So I like to still get my workout in and keep that up. Yeah.
For some people, my husband is the same way. You know, it's how he centers his body, how he kind of like resets, whether it helps you to bring down your blood pressure or whether it's your mental health, you know, and that's really at the core of what you're saying. And why I love Planet Fitness because if you have a regimen or you like machines or classes you like to take, you're going to get that whether you're in Iowa or, New York City.
Exactly. And, I get away from the in-laws by saying, gotta go to the gym. So, yeah, that's always helpful, too. We're talking to Yael Varnado, TV host. You've seen her on CNN and Dr. Oz, contributor, Women's Health, and a physician at Johns Hopkins. What other recommendations do you have this time of year?
Well, I like to remind people, the weather's cooling and our bodies naturally need a little extra care. And so it's really important to think about what you're putting into your body as fuel and leaning into nutrient-dense warming foods like soups, citruses, squash, root vegetables. I really think it's important to eat in season because it's going to give you energy and balance and keep you hydrated. So I am a fan of always saying, what do you have at the store that's like in season right now, and really enjoying and sharing that with my family because it's about eating whole foods that are going to nourish your body.
I love that you bring that up because you notice that nature understands the weather. We get dehydrated in the summer, and that's why we have all these summer fruits that are full of water and fluid. Yet during the winter, we need food for warmth. We need to bone up on our antioxidants, and so it's fascinating how you see what produce and vegetables thrive in certain times of the year because that's kind of what we're supposed to be feeding ourselves. So that's a good point you brought up.
Very true. Very true.
Eating what's in season. Any other tips you'd like to share with our listeners?
Absolutely. It's hard. You're stressed. We're stressed. A lot going on. It's the holiday season is right around the corner. And so it's important to get sleep. We really need to slow down and reset, and getting good and quality sleep is going to make a huge difference in how we handle stress, and how you can stay healthy through these like darker months because you wear yourself down and that's how you get sick. And so it's about giving your body permission to really recharge so that you feel ready when spring rolls around and we're up and going again,
Right. So true. How can my listeners find more information?
Dr. Daliah, you can check out tipsontv.com for all the things that we talked about today.
Well, wow. Dr. Varnado, love having you. Can't wait to have you back and stay healthy this fall and winter season.
Thank you. You too, Dr. Daliah. Take care. So great to talk to you today.
You too. 1-877-Dr. Daliah, 1-877-DOC-DALI. I get frustrated. I walk through the grocery store and I'm like, well, wait, where's the grapes? Where's the, but then you see apples, and you see, the oranges, and you see the potatoes, and you see the and sometimes that's, nature talking to us and telling us, look, these are the things we need to be, considering and boning up on. I mean, apple picking and apple watching. I saw some meme. Somebody said he took his wife to the apple orchard and they watched the apples, but that's not what she wanted. She wanted an Apple Watch. I don't ask. But definitely bone up on your fruits and vegetables and check out what Dr. Varnado just spoke about. 1-877 Dr. Daliah. Don't go away.
Looking for a gift that can actually help secure someone's future? It's Mark Falter's new book, Common Sense Income Strategies. It makes the perfect gift for that special someone in your life. Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using time-tested strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. To learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Secure your future with Common Sense Income Strategies by Mark Falter. Again, to learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635.
Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. So have any of you guys ever gotten your car or truck towed? I haven't. I have been very, very lucky my whole life. But it happened to my son this weekend, and it sucked. And I think there's a lot of scams and predatory behavior out there that I want to warn you all about. So, because I think they lay in waiting, and then as soon as they think you are in violation, they grab your car, go, and then they hold it hostage. And so this weekend was the Renaissance Fair in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, the Renaissance Fair has been something I love going to, but I think this might be the last time I go to it. Because you used to be able to find parking. There'd be a lot you could park on, and even though I could use my media pass, if I'm coming with family and all that, I don't necessarily go, oh, I'm media. I'm sure I could, but because I cover it and I promote it and that kind of stuff. But this time around, they wanted to shunt people to another lot that was far away, and then use shuttle buses. Well, the problem with that for me is if I have to go to the bathroom, all right. Not only are you waiting in line to get on a shuttle bus, but then you're waiting in line to get on one to leave the event, and it could add an extra few hours to the event. Remember I told you guys I wanted to go to the Nellis Air Force Base Air Show, and the shuttle line, we were in line for 2 hours, and I'm like, I just can't, just to get onto a bus. We weren't sure what was going on with the buses, and so, for me, I just don't have all day to spend. So my son was with his girlfriend, and they're like, well, we're going to go get something to eat, and then we'll meet you. So they parked across the street to go get something to eat. And then they were going to come and meet us. Well, we were there for about an hour or so, and it was cool. I posted some pictures. It was great. I got to see a camel and have them, camel wanted to, lick whatever salt was on my hand. I don't know what the camel was doing. And it was pretty cool. Ooh, and then the the Gondor sword from Lord of the Rings before it broke into pieces. That was really, really cool. I love the Renaissance Fair. It's really, really cool. But we're like, look, we'll drive you back to your car. So we drove them back to the car. The car is gone. Even though they were there in the parking lot to go eat, that car's gone. And it wasn't even covered parking. There was no sign. So we thought the car got stolen. So then for poops and giggles, we're like, well, I wonder if it got towed. So we're driving around for about 5 minutes trying to see, is there a possible tow sign? Because how do you know where the car is? If somebody towed it, who's the towing company? Where does it go? Well, behind some bushes, there was a sign. So we called it, and they go, yeah, we have your car. And, we weren't really at the Renaissance Fair that long. And I'm like, well, I bet they're still on the road. Where is it? Well, it was about, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 miles away, the tow company. So I'm like, I bet we could even catch them on the road. But so we start to go down there, and we get to the tow truck company. You start to see all these people in Renaissance Fair clothes walk into this tow company. We're thinking to ourselves, look, this is going to be a good couple $100. Just prepare. Towing fees are not good. It cost $580 to get his car back. Why? Well, the basic towing fee was $360, but because it was a weekend night, they slapped on more money. They said like an extra 100, 150. Then they charged per mile that they had to drive the car, $17 per mile. And then on top of that, they added some extra BS fee. I forget what they said. Oh, because it was a special event, and so by the time people got out of their $580, now the average person doesn't have that money in their wallet. They don't have it in their bank account, and you saw the worry these people had, and you heard people go, but I was only there for a few minutes. I was only there. Well, that's kind of what happens. I mean, if you park in a place you're not supposed to park, you get towed. But we calculated based on the time, they must have been just right there sitting to catch. And I've been hearing about these tow truck scams. And I live in a place that always had free parking, always had, usually, I mean, we got the coolest, I live in Southern Nevada. All there is land. All there are is fields and desert. But these tow truck companies know how to make money. And so adding extra fees because they can, there's no way to fight it. So $580 for them having our car for 5 minutes. Not cool. Not cool at all. And, many individuals that don't have that kind of money, that you struggle. And so one thing that I'm really, kind of grumpy with and salty about is, we have such amazing sports events and hockey and all that, but we get scammed on the parking and the pricing. And so if you don't want to spend, I think I wanted to go to a Golden Knights game, and parking was $45. So on top of your ticket, which is now getting high priced, on top of that, we had to pay an extra $45. And that's actually good. I'm hearing that some parking is more. Why? Well, because these companies can charge for it. They can charge for it. So people are paying it. And if you're trying to find another place to go and you don't see a tow sign, well, that you could be really, really screwed. So I think the key is to just Uber or Lyft where you're going to go. But that could cost about $40, $50, depending on where you are. And it's frustrating because I don't want to be the one to say I'm not going to go somewhere because of parking or because I don't want to get towed. I remember hearing my grandparents talk like that. I'm like, why would you miss an event because you're worried about something that's not going to happen? Yeah, I mean, I get if you're worried about a mass shooter, but you're worried about getting towed. Well, now I am frightened to park anywhere. And what really kind of gets me is this Renaissance Fair. What the Renaissance Fair used to be about was people dressing up, enjoying, the Lord of the Rings and the knights and the chivalry and watching shows and all that. It has gotten to be such a money grab. And, the experience, and then to try and eat, lines and lines and lines. And, of course, the food was exorbitant in terms of cost. And I get, everybody needs to make money. And these people that work these Renaissance fairs, God bless them, this is the only income they have. But when you throw all this on top of each other, I mean, this weekend ended up being a really expensive weekend. And the reason why you go to these fairs, the reason why you go to these events is because you're trying to not spend a lot of money and you're trying to enjoy the day. You're trying, that's what I love about watching sports, because you tell everybody you do a potluck, bring everybody over, have the kids play, have the game going on in the background. You can make a day of it without spending a lot of money. So you'd think, I'm going to go to the Renaissance Fair. It's going to be cool. It's going to be an experience. I mean, by the time you bought tickets and food, we're talking hundreds of dollars. And that ruins it for everybody. The Renaissance Fair cannot be just a rich person's day. Disneyland has gotten ridiculous. I told you guys I was looking for a room to go drive in Wednesday night and be at the park on Thursday. Disneyland Hotel was $5,290 a night. And I posted that picture on Facebook and Twitter. No lie. And then I looked at some of the cheaper motels. King's Inn was $1,100. What? What are these people doing? Not to mention it's about $200 a ticket. Disneyland is now for rich people. It's not for middle income. And then I live where we have the WNBA and Go Aces, well done, winning. And we have the Raiders. We have the Golden Knights. We have the Aviators. We have. Why are these? Luckily, the Aviators it's more reasonable, but the locals can't enjoy. It costs an arm and leg. It costs so much money just to enjoy the sports and support your team. That's wrong. And these money grabs are ridiculous. And just throwing more insult to injury is the stupid tow stuff. And you don't see where the tow truck is. They shut their lights, they hide, and even if it's a couple blocks away. And then they have a scout, and then they probably say, okay, all right, get them. So just be careful. You know, if you were always able to park on a field or park somewhere before, careful. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away.
Hey guys, it's Clyde. You know, we've had a lot of requests for Ground Zero merchandise, so we put together an online store with a big variety of high-quality items. I'm really excited to let you know about these things. We have a lot to offer you and your loved ones. In addition to our regular apparel, such as t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, and hats, we've expanded our product line with posters, flags, aprons, mugs, and a whole lot more. We also have Ground Zero collectibles, along with a limited edition of items like a Clyde Lewis canvas portrait, a Ground Zero embroidered jacket that will certainly make for great gifts and for interesting conversations with family and friends. And we now offer publications such as Ron Patton's book about mind control, MK Zine, and back copies of the official magazine of Ground Zero while it was in print. Paranoia, the Conspiracy Reader, also coming in 2023, are updated and revised books that I've written. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. So shop today at our official store by going to groundzeromerch.com. Again, that's groundzeromerch.com.
Hey, America. How tired are you of mainstream corporate media's biased narratives and manipulated news? Their dishonesty and attempts to influence this generation have been exposed, put on display for anyone who's even half paying attention. But the New American Magazine has been an honest source of news and commentary for over 50 years. This is your opportunity to receive the stalwart of principled journalism at a deep discount. Picture a beautifully published magazine arriving at your doorstep twice a month, packed with insightful stories written with integrity. It's also available digitally on the New American's mobile app. Get up to speed with intelligent coverage from a freedom perspective. Right now, for a limited time, the New American is available to radio listeners at a 25% discount on a new subscription. Visit thenewamerican.com/radio25 and receive 25% off. Subscribe today at thenewamerican.com/radio25.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So, a very common question I get is from individuals who are surprised that their job is going to do drug testing. How long do they have to get the drug out of their system? And what can they do to facilitate that? And I'm telling you right now, there are no products or anything like that that I would even suggest that has any sort of reliability or safety for something like that. And you know, if you did drugs, they're going to show up at the test. The tests now are really, really good. The days of, well, I'm going to drink just a lot of water and I'm going to, no, because your kidneys concentrate. Remember, your body wants water. You could try diluting your urine, but that could cause medical issues. And if they see diluted urine, that's a red flag. So you're trying to drink a lot of water such that your kidneys are only passing water. Now these tests are really able to pick things up. So just to kind of review what the time frame is, it really depends on the drug. And it also depends on the testing. I mean, a hair follicle test, wow. I mean, yeah, if you use marijuana, that could be in your hair for 3 months. Now, but if it's a urine test, roughly, they say alcohol will be in your system, or the urine test will pick it up if you've had alcohol within 12 hours. If you take amphetamines, speed, 2 to 3 days for typical use, but if you're on them extensively, even longer. If you take benzodiazepines, depending on if it's like a short term Ativan or Klonopin versus like Valium, which is more longer term, benzodiazepines, they could be in your system for up to a month. Cocaine. If you use cocaine heavily, it could be weeks, it being in your urine test. If it was a one-time deal, maybe a few days. Heroin and other opioids, at least a few days. Now, it does have a half-life. They do have half-lives, and some of them are shorter acting, but longer acting could be longer. And then marijuana, the THC component. If you're a casual user, it could be in your urine test for up to a week. If you're a chronic user, it could be there for about a month. Now, sometimes companies will do blood tests. And blood tests have even higher specificity than urine tests. Cocaine, they could pick up within 12 hours. Opioids, they could pick up, obviously, within a day or two. And then marijuana in the blood. Now, in the blood, it's interesting. Marijuana, it might last only a few days in the blood test. Well, why? Well, because blood, it's not like hair or other tissues where it could collect. And so your blood test, because some people are like, well, blood test is better for me because that it's not as chronic. It won't pick it up if I've used, let's say, the drug days before. Yeah, but the concentration that it could pick up on may be stronger. So it's kind of hit or miss. So what do? You have a job. You want a job. You want to get a commercial driver's license. You want to work for a company. And then you come to find out that marijuana is a no-no. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with. Just because certain states legalized marijuana doesn't mean you can't get fired. I mean, it's still considered federally an illicit substance and under the influence. And so people are so shocked. They're like, but marijuana is legal where I live. Well, just like alcohol. If somebody wanted to know if you drink alcohol and test you, or you can't have alcohol on the job. And I know there's a big difference between on the job and it being in your system, but marijuana is a little different because it could be in your system for a long period of time. So, I really want to help people who want to work. Okay, I mean, I don't want people working high, but I definitely want to assist people in getting their job back. So I'm not telling you how to pass a drug test, but there's a few things you need to do. First and foremost is get documentation from a medical provider. If you are taking marijuana or doing gummies or whatever because of a medical condition, then get documentation of that medical condition. What we are seeing is that the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, allow, shall we say, modifications and accommodations, accommodations, depending on your medical condition. So let's say you have insomnia and you are at risk of being addicted to sleeping pills. And you notify your doctor saying, look, for sleep, this is what I'm using, but I would like your recommendation. Or, is that safer than other sleeping aids? Now, most doctors are not going to say marijuana is safe for, that they would tell you, let's work on sleep, let's get you into some therapy, let's check you for sleep apnea. But you having a doctor's note and showing that you were in the process of talking to that medical provider and you're treating an issue could provide you some protection. I obviously don't use the drug. I mean, the drug tests are going to be coming back. And I think we're going to be seeing them more and more. Why? Because of liability. And I told you this. I told you that, legalizing marijuana, which is something I voted for in my neck of the woods, because I wanted police freed up, from not having to, they could deal with the more, serious crimes. I wanted us to be able to study it. So we had another alternative, for people in chronic pain, because I thought they were going to, ridiculously restrict access to pain medicines by blaming doctors for the fentanyl crisis, and then, just to learn about it and to see what medicinal applications are there. Well, one side effect of that is, fewer people want to go to work. You're like, I remember being late for work, how you would panic that you would be late for work because you could lose your job. Now we just don't seem to have people panic too much about losing their job these days. They're like, ain't no thing but a chicken wing. I'm good. And so many employers are a little frustrated because some of their employees aren't coming back to work. So they want to know, is this a marijuana user, who might be more prone to calling out or sleeping in? I understand Ted, that movie seemed to really over stereotype. Most people who use marijuana casually are going to make it to their job, but that's a way for them to screen and see if it's going to be somebody who calls out. And then another thing is liability. So even though marijuana is legal, they do not want doctors and nurses using marijuana and having it in the system, because if anything does go wrong, and you fail a drug test, that's on them. So many industries will not allow you to use, and it's a question that keeps coming up. Does my surgeon use pot, and is anybody checking them? And how do we know it's not at a level that could be affecting their reaction time? And so most hospitals, especially for privileges, they're just like, no drugs. I don't care how legal it is. Now, do doctors drink alcohol on occasion? Of course. Do doctors use drugs? I'm sure there's a lot of doctors that do use marijuana. But they're based on where you work, not supposed to. And it's so ubiquitous now that we take it for granted. But hearing people panic because they're going to be possibly failing their drug test, my advice is, 1, try not to use it. 2, get at least a doctor's note, that can provide you some sort of protection. And then if you are using it for a medical condition, start getting a paper trail on that, and find something better and safer, because most likely you're not going to be able to, even if you do get the job, continue to use the drug. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Hey guys, it's Dr. Daliah. Fantasy football season is coming, but sadly, too many of you are taking the bench while the country takes part in one of the most exciting and lucrative industries out there. Don't know how to play? Well, huddle up and listen. Paul Kalikas and I have written a fantasy football pocket guide for beginners. This book walks you through the basics and shows you how simple and lucrative joining or creating a fantasy football team can be. Read our fantasy football pocket guide for beginners found on Amazon, or follow the links on X and Facebook. That's Fantasy Football Pocket Guides for Beginners. Don't be left out.
Increase fuel economy up to 7.9% with Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme, the solution to maximize your engine's performance and fuel economy. Whether you're driving a sports car or a daily commuter, Gasoline Extreme is specially formulated with PEA to deep clean. Don't settle for an average driving experience. Upgrade to Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme and go further on each tank. Order now on Amazon or HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.